coach Jamal Mosley after 5 seasons with the team. This news comes less than 24 hours after losing Game 7 to the top-seeded Pistons after Orlando blew a 3-1 series lead. Here's how it all went down. Game 7 in Detroit. You'll see here the two head coaches showing each other tons of love.
Yeah, we go way back.
No
Game's
doubt.
going on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But this is the man of the hour here. Tobias Harris
There you go.
was on
Harris.
fire. That one from Cunningham. There's one from the baseline. Here's one more from the corner. And his head coach, J.B. Bickerstaff, had some choice words about Tobias.
Nobody can say to me about Tobias Harris, right? He is dependable, reliable, prepared for the moment.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a little over 8 minutes left the third quarter. Cunningham drives here. He gets the layup.
Strong layup.
Pistons up 15. Under a minute left in the third. Pistons up big. Dennis Jenkins.
Welcome to the playoffs.
At the buzzer.
Oh, my mama.
Under 9 minutes left in the game. Pistons up 21. Cade drives, goes up with the float game.
Too easy.
Pistons win 116-94, advancing to the East semis for the first time since 2008. Cade Cunningham with a historic first round as he becomes the 6th different player in NBA history with at least 225 points and 50 assists in a playoff series, joining this illustrious group of Giannis, Luka, LeBron, Jerry West, and Oscar Robertson. Here's Cade after the game with Lisa Salters.
They really pushed us to the limit. We've grown a lot because of this series, because of that team and the way that, they pushed us. So, huge credit to them. And, we're ready to get to the second round and continue business.
We've got to be better. And it doesn't start in April when the playoffs start. It starts in September, October, when we get everybody in the building. When you build habits, you create an environment where losing in the first round is not acceptable. It's not good enough. And that should be the attitude.
Certainly some strong comments there from Paolo after the loss. Brian, what's your reaction to the firing of Mosley?
Well, this is a move that was not unexpected in the league. In fact, it was expected for quite some time. And, people didn't think that the Magic would make it out of the play-in. And this might happen a couple of weeks ago. Then the Magic make this impressive run and push Detroit to the limit. And people were wondering, did Jamal save his job? But then you blow a 3-1 lead, and then it kind of greases the skids out of town. So this is an attractive job, but it's a job that comes with very high expectations. Jamal got them from a rebuilding team to a playoff team. He couldn't take them to the next level. Now, after the Desmond Bane trade and the amount of money they've put in this roster, the expectation is going to be much higher, and that's why Jamal's out of a job. But I'm going to tell you something. He's very well respected. I expect him to have another job soon.
Yeah, shout out to Jamal. I had him when I was young pup in the league. I think he did the best he could with what he had. I don't think he had a very fair shake. There was a lot throughout this season where he didn't have a healthy team. They were Franz Wagner away from making a Miami run, I think, to the Eastern Conference Finals. If you have Franz Wagner, I think they win this series and then possibly win the next series against Cleveland, who came out of that Toronto series. But Mosley, well respected, had a great run. They just weren't healthy. There was a time where he felt like he lost the players. Again, this was something that people assumed was going to happen regardless. And, I think he'll get a job somewhere else. But Jamal, he did a great job with this group and turning it around.
I'm going to do my Oprah impersonation right now. You get a Game 7. You get a Game 7.
Yeah.
You get a Game 7. We got one more Game 7 to talk about. Raptors, Cavs. The home team has won every game in this series. Would it continue? Cleveland comes in on a recent hot streak in Game 7s. Cavs have won 4 straight Game 7s entering Sunday, which was tied for the third longest winning streak in NBA history.
We remember that one.
Yeah. So back to Sunday in the third. Mitchell dribbles left, step back 3.
Step back is so fun because he hops back with explosion.
Minute and a half later, Mitchell inside for the layup.
Scoop.
Few minutes later, Raptors turn it over.
Yeah.
There you go. Finally.
Watch your head.
This is the man of the third quarter.
Hey.
Yep. Jared Allen.
They went up 20 in the third.
And a minute later, Jalen Tyson can't connect, but Allen there for the putback.
On the glass, doing the dirty work.
8 offensive rebounds.
Allen joins LeBron as the only Cavs player with 20 points, 15 boards in a Game 7. The Cavaliers are looking to return to the finals for the first time since being swept by the Warriors in 2018. For the other 3 teams left in the East, it's been over 20 years since they last made the NBA Finals. Cavs and Pistons second-round series starts tomorrow, and there's a noticeable Boston-sized vacancy at the moment in the East bracket. So, Brian, What's your view of the East at the moment?
Look, I know we're at the point in the calendar where we all make predictions, and I wish everybody who's making those predictions luck, because I have no idea how this round is going to go. We just saw 3 of the 4 series in the East go to 7 games. I think both of these are primed to go to 7 games. All 4 of these teams could not only win this series, I think all 4 of these teams, under the right circumstances, can win the entire Eastern Conference. So I expect this to be high drama, high stakes, a lot of back and forth, and frankly, a lot of, ups and downs. There's going to be, these teams are going to look bad at times and they're going to look good at times. You better settle in for it.
Yeah, all 4 of these teams also that are still remaining in the Eastern Conference has a player that is under pressure. They have a player that we're going to be watching and circling and saying, how is your performance?
Or players.
But, multiple.
That's
Some
fair.
have a group.
You
look at Cleveland, they have a little bit of a group. You look at New York, they might have a little bit of a group based on the impact. But it also is going to be a career-defining opportunity because they want to get to the mountaintop. They want to be the challengers of the potential Oklahoma City Thunder to try to slow down their reign. And when you break them down, the Sixers, that player that we have an eye on is Joel Embiid for obvious reasons. He's healthy-ish at the right time, but his numbers are showing up in a big way. New York, Brunson and Cat, will they be able to right the wrongs of last year? And you think about if they don't win, we might look at a reconstruction in New York. Detroit, Cade Cunningham is probably the person shouldering the heaviest load. Yeah. His production dictates their success more than anyone else. It's like a straight linear line. And then the Cavs, James Harden. The question marks about how he goes later in the series. That's why he went to Cleveland, so he's not that number 1. But now you're going alongside a Donovan Mitchell, who we also have question marks. So each guy has an opportunity for these teams, but we'll see which one emerges to change their legacy in a positive way.
Obviously, this is a star-studded league, and it's about them. But I think the guys that can change the series or change the narrative or win your series are the others. The guys that stepped up for Cleveland and saved the names that you're talking about are Evan Mobley and Jared Allen.
True.
Evan Mobley stretching the floor, knocking down threes, being aggressive, getting to the paint. Jared Allen, third quarter, unbelievable. Just offensive rebounding, blocking shots, deterring guys at the paint. Those 2 guys are going to be huge. And if Detroit wants to have a chance in this series, Jalen Duren has to be the second option. I love how Tobias Harris is playing. Shout out to Mr. Harris. I'm sorry, nothing to say. Tobias Harris can be a second option, but he shouldn't have to be a second option. But he's playing at this level, and you have Jalen Duren to step up. This team could be, so the way they're playing, they could advance to that next round if those 2 guys play the way they're supposed to. But that's going to be a big challenge for Jalen Duren taking on Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. So, Tobias Harris, hell of a series. Good. Keep going, young fella, old fella now. And I hope to see them, advance and make some noise in Detroit.
It's going to be wild to say. I think Detroit.
We're going to be covering the Knicks in this series with the Sixers. Vinny, what have the Knicks said about the significance of those 4 regular season meetings?
Well, Jay, Josh Hart said the same thing about the regular season that you probably would say, is that it's idiotic to compare the regular season to the playoffs when looking at this particular matchup. He said when there's back-to-backs and schedules and injuries, there's no point in looking at it when you're looking at these 2 teams. He said those games are flushed at this point. He did say, though, that the group chat was popping during Game 7 of Celtics 76ers, and he is happy that he does not have to pack to go to Boston, which is where they would have gone had they been playing the Celtics for Game 1 tonight.
Hey, Vinny, we talked about Joel Embiid with Tim Bontemps a few seconds ago, and both Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe are coming off strong series as well. What sort of challenge do those 2 players pose defensively for New York?
It's like going from listening to a podcast at 1 time speed to times 2.5. That is what Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe do compared to CJ McCollum. And that's where the Knicks are going to have a little bit of a matchup problem. Josh Hart is the guy that wants to slow them down. Josh Hart is going to have to choose, or the Knicks are going to have to choose, which of those players he's going to have to deploy, because we know Jalen Brunson is not a defensive stopper. Josh Hart said, hopefully the refs will allow me to be physical so that I can slow them down myself. We all know, especially with Embiid and how he's played, averaging 32 in the 2 games that he's played against the Knicks, fouling out Karl Towns in 16 minutes and 1. Officiating is going to be a huge emphasis in this series on both sides of the ball.
Looking forward to it. Vinny, thank you so much for your insight. Let's go back to Chiney right now. Chiney, fill in the blank for me. New York wins Game 1 if
the Cat stays on the attack. Karl Anthony Towns remains in attack mode. Finally, I'm so happy the New York Knicks have realized that he is truly the centerpiece. Literally, he's the most important piece as a center. And when they started running the offense through him, they got great results. He had 2 triple-doubles in the postseason. He's a facilitator. In some ways, I feel offended on his behalf because it's like they underestimated his capabilities. It was very much in a box. You can shoot threes, and I'm not sure about the paint, but he's aggressive getting downhill. He wants the ball in the low post. He wants to be able to make plays. He wants to be important. And finally, they treated him as such, and they got the right results. So keep that same energy. He is the main character for them, especially in a series going up against another tremendous center in Joel Embiid.
All right, we'll see if the energy is kept. Chene, thank you so much. NFL rookies have started reporting to camp. Fernando Mendoza working on something he almost never did in college. Are there already major concerns for the Raiders' new QB? We're going to ask our QB, Tim Hasselbeck.